Bienvenidos a este podcast en vivo.
Cool. So we're going to get this started. So again, welcome to the Life's Podcast. Of course, this is C.J. OLTON. And today we got a really good topic. Today I'm going to be talking about motherhood and, pregnancy. And more specifically, I'm going to be talking about the first year of motherhood. There's a lot of mothers out here, obviously. But my next guest is definitely essential for this because she just gave birth about a year ago. And so, with that, this last year, she's been obviously a new mother and she has a lot of experience. And so with that, I'm going to go ahead and introduce my guest. That is Jocelyn ACOSTA HOWELL. How are you, Jocelyn?
I'm good. Happy to be here. Excited to talk about this first year.
Of course. And of course, we got the superstar in the building.
Yeah.
Joaquin Howell. What's going on, baby boy?
He's very busy right now.
Of course.
Watching his shows.
Preoccupied, so he's trying to figure out the world as we speak.
Right, yeah.
Of course. So, as I said, you are, a viable candidate to this. Of course, there's millions of mothers out there, right? But the reason why I wanted to talk to you specifically is because, you're brand new. You just gave birth about, a little over 12 months ago. And so, now you have this whole experience of what it's like to be a mother. And so, this whole episode is going to be about women who are, pregnant or thinking about being pregnant and having a child of their own. And so, we just want to make them as comfortable as possible with this information. So look at him. Now he's interested. Now.
Right.
So, with that, I do have these questions for you. I'm going to label out and, you're going to take your shot at it and let the audience know, your experience and how it's been thus far. And maybe, we can keep updates, like yearly updates. Who knows? We'll see. But, for now.
For sure.
Yes. So for now, just go ahead and let us know, who you are, where you're from, and, currently where your status is.
Yeah. So as I said, name is Jocelyn. I grew up in El Monte, California, which is like in the San Gabriel Valley. So grew up there, first living in a home with my grandparents as well as my parents and my brothers. For a bit, we moved into like apartments where we did sort of just like one family unit living. Until I went to college, we lived still in like the El Monte area. And I went to college in Iowa. I went to Grinnell College. I got a full 4-year full tuition scholarship, which is why I was able to go out and actually go do higher education, or else I don't think that would have been the route I would have taken. Post-college, I did City Year Los Angeles, which is an education-based nonprofit, and which is also an AmeriCorps program. So I served with AmeriCorps for 2 years, and then I went on to staff. So now I work as a learning and development coordinator with the same organization, City Year LA. Still doing that work. I think the third year in my staff position. So I've been with that org for about 5 years. And my first year is actually when I got pregnant. So it was my first year in my first big girl job. I got pregnant and yeah.
Okay. So for the people that don't know, like the El Monte area, that's basically, Los Angeles County, right? That's predominantly where you grew up. Things are good, things are stable. And so after that college experience, you come back to California, right? Okay. And so that's where the working comes into play. And so, you take that pregnancy test and you find out, you're pregnant. What was the emotions when you found out?
I was so scared. I cried. I like immediately cried. And I remember when I first like told Patrick, he was like so excited, and then like my energy wasn't that. So he immediately like had to switch it up and be like, it's okay, like we're gonna be okay. And so I was really terrified. I was like, I was 25, but I still saying I feel like I was teen pregnant. Like I was not ready. I still shop at Claire's. Like half of my clothes is pink and glittery. Like I was not in like a place where I thought of like being a mom. So I definitely was so terrified when I first like knew I was pregnant.
Yeah, yeah, I'm sure. Terrifying experience.
Hmm.
What were some of the changes that you were feeling during this time? As like the first, second, third, fourth month of pregnancy was going on, just your body and
Hmm.
maybe even your emotions. Do you remember some of those changes?
Right, yeah. So I actually was about 3 months pregnant when I found out. So I didn't realize I was pregnant until 3 months in. I experienced a lot of nausea. I think during my second semester, trimester, is when I started like um, having more energy. I was not nauseous anymore. The second trimester is when you're like super pumped and you're like, I can do anything, like I'm pregnant, but like I'm feeling good. And then the third trimester is when like I was feeling super low energy. It's like I just want this baby to come. Like
Yeah.
I didn't want to. You could not scrape me off the couch, off my bed. Like I was just like I don't want to move. So it's definitely like a journey. You
Yeah,
also
sounds like a
have
roller
less like,
coaster.
yeah, you also I think by the end have less control of like what your body's doing. I had to like always wear pads, have extra underwear because I would pee myself all the time, and that's like not something I was like prepared for. I was just like, okay.
Okay.
So yeah, your body goes through it, and for sure, I think in terms of like emotions, I wasn't feeling too many like crazy emotions. I don't think. I think I was just like it was mostly like what my body was doing and then like my energy matching that.
I see. Okay. All right. So with the roller coaster, I gotta ask, what was, you know, your favorite part about pregnancy and what was your least favorite part about pregnancy?
Hmm. Yeah, honestly, my favorite part is that I can get out of anything just being like, I'm pregnant. Like I didn't have to do nothing if I didn't want to. Like at work, I'd be like, can I skip this meeting? Can I just like sit here for a second? And I'd be like, of course, like you're pregnant. So I think that is my favorite part, like getting pampered because people like love, like being there for pregnant ladies. My family was like super excited. So that's definitely my favorite part. I think the least favorite part would be not 100% knowing what was gonna happen. Like when I was in the delivery room, when I was gonna give birth, I'm someone who's very impatient and likes to know all the things.
Mm,
And so like you can hear a lot of like it's gonna be painful, like this is gonna be this way or that way, but until you experience it, you can never know. So I think that was my least favorite part of like I didn't know what to expect. And it's really something, like for first time moms of like you have to like be in it and do it before you can really know um, how things are gonna go.
I see, I see. And that's very interesting. You bring up, your least favorite part because, my next question was really going to be, describing the days leading into labor and then labor itself. So,
Mm, right. So actually, my water didn't break. I actually had an induced pregnancy. So a couple, maybe like a week before I actually had the baby at my doctor's, they were like, okay, if this baby doesn't come out by this day, we have to induce your labor. And so baby didn't come when they wanted to, so I had to check in and stuff. And so I had to be induced, which means that they pump me with this drug called Pitocin, and Pitocin is basically like artificial like contractions. Like it forces your body to have the contractions and stuff. So painful. It's artificial contractions basically, much more painful than if your body were to have done it on its own. And so I think labor started off like like I was so excited, like yes, I'm gonna have my baby, but at first the contractions weren't that bad. It hurt, but like I was getting through it. And I think maybe halfway in I was like, this is crazy and it hurt so bad and it's horrible. They actually had to break my water for me at some point. And yeah, it was just like a lot of things that went into that process. At one point, I was just like, "Listen, everything hurts. I need an epidural." So they gave me an epidural. It did not work, and I was still feel like in so much pain. Nothing was happening. I think maybe the first 15 minutes, I was like, "Cool, like I love this." And then after that, I was like, why did it wear off already? Anesthesiologist said that there is like a small percentage of women who like are basically immune to epidurals. I don't know if that was like the case for me. I did another one, and again, the first 15 minutes, it was like I was chilling, but it didn't really do like anything. And it wasn't until after I had the baby. So I actually had an emergency episiotomy. So my placenta wasn't like, I like didn't give birth to it along with my kid, and they were trying to take it out, but it was stuck to my uterus, and so the doctor was like, if we pull it out, like your whole uterus is coming out, and like that is not good for you.
Ooh.
So I had an emergency episiotomy, which is a whole other thing. I'm so glad I didn't know what it was before I went into labor. I think I would have been freaking out. But after I woke up from that surgery, they came to take out that epidural from my back. And this is a new anesthesiologist who came, and he was like, whoever put this in incorrectly. It actually got stuck in my back. And so they had to do a whole bunch of stuff. So I don't know if I was actually that like small percentage of women who it doesn't work for,
Yeah,
or if it just wasn't put in correctly.
yeah.
I guess I
'Cause,
will never
you know,
know.
I've read about, you know, the medical field and people of color. And so we kind of
Yeah.
know how that gets down, right? Like they kind of
Mm-hmm.
neglected, a lot of malpractice and stuff. So, you know,
Right.
I think it's important to just mention, like, make sure, as a family, make sure you guys are aware of who your doctors are, what they're doing, and what needs to be done correctly, just
Right.
so,
Mm-hmm.
everyone's treated fairly and equally.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm not sure which one it actually was. I just know that if we have another kid, I am not getting an epidural. I am gonna walk 10 miles every day the week before my due date, because I also don't want my labor to be induced anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was an experience for sure.
Yeah. Is that something a woman can prepare for in terms of giving birth? I mean, is there any kind of advice you
Yeah.
have in that department?
Yes, yes. So something that I definitely ignored, like I told you earlier, like you couldn't scrape me off the couch or my bed, is like walking is a really great way to help yourself be put into labor. I think my third trimester, I was just like so low energy, wasn't really walking as much as I should. But I know that that is like the biggest thing, is just like moving your body and walking, making sure that like you're not like just stationary. Even if you want to like sit on, like a stationary bike and just move your legs, I think that is even more helpful than just sitting and not doing anything.
Yeah, just trying to keep up with the body and keep it
Mm-hmm.
active, keep the blood flowing,
Right.
all that.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely, I've had a lot of conversations with women about pregnancy and stuff like that, and I'm still to this day trying to figure out, how the fuck do you do it? Like, what is there, just like this divine piece of energy where like it's just above the mental? Like at this point, it's just a spiritual like overtaking. Because I heard a woman once told me, you know, if a man wants to know what pregnancy feels like, it's imagine like a lemon and pushing it out of your penis, right? And so thinking about that
Mm,
is like, whoa, like I would never do it. I would never get pregnant.
yeah.
So
Yeah. It's. Uh-huh.
it's just like in the sense of, what were you feeling during that
Mm-hmm.
labor point, like at that specific moment where Joaquin was being born? What is that feeling?
Yeah, I think it was like, one, I was like exhausted, but two, it was like a kind of like a calmness that I felt once like I knew he was born, because it was just like so much pressure, so much pressure, so much pressure, and then like your baby's here. But I like vividly remember feeling like just like calm and like I did it kind of feeling. And like, your doctors are coaching you, the people in the room are, it's like really important to have those folks there too, to really like push you and help you and like motivate you. But it is exhausting in that moment. But as soon as like your baby is born, I think you're like, whew, I did it finally. Like I can like rest and relax, and like now a new thing is beginning.
Yes, yeah. So it's a divine power. It's some kind of just
Mm,
high energy helping you through that whole process. So, for all the men
right.
out there that we don't have to bear with this, we should be grateful. With the last question I have for pregnancy, are you, now that you've gone through it, is that something that you cherish as a woman, being able to bring life? Because, I can never do that. So
Hmm.
is that something that you cherish?
Yeah, I think now being like on the other side, like I am a daughter, and I think I didn't really ever understand fully like the way my mom, like thought or felt, or her reactions to anything that I would do. And me being like, oh, mom, like you don't understand, and then her being like, no, you don't understand. And I think now that I'm a mom, I'm like, okay, I understand. And it's just like something like, yeah, so precious, and definitely is something I cherish, that like I have one little human that like I made with my body, and then like I worked super hard for him to like get here and be healthy. You have to sacrifice your body for 10 months to make sure that this little human is here, and I think now is just like um, it's just like an amazing experience, that like he is someone attached to me in a lot of different ways, and I definitely would say that I cherish it for sure.
Absolutely. But just that first week now, you have a child.
Hmm.
What kind of adjustment is that? What does that consist of? What were you doing? Do you remember that first week?
I think that first week, so there's a custom in like Mexican culture, where a woman after she's born is supposed to quarantine for 40 days. So you're not supposed to like get up, move, you feed your kid, you bond with him, but other than that, like the air can't hit your face, you shouldn't take showers. And it's like serious business, and my mom was like, you need to do that. And so that first week was me trying to like balance like the different cultures that I'm in, basically. And then I think also just like postpartum recovery is really difficult. Like you're bleeding still, like everything hurts and is sore. Like I said, I had the emergency episiotomy, so I was all stitched up, and I had to take care of that as well. Um, and so it's like so many different things in that first week, that it's like hard to like keep up, and like and to just like be fully present in one thing.
I see. I see. And so now, leading into the first month, how can you describe, the baby's behavior? What is the baby doing? What's their routine? What's going on with that?
Yeah, I think first month baby is still like a little potato, doesn't do anything really. Uh, they're just like sitting. I think they start smiling and stuff. And so well, first month is like, I think thinking that now that he's where he's at, I think back then I'd be like, oh my god, like I have to do all these things for him, but really like they're not doing nothing but taking up space at that point, which is like, I think if I have a kid again, I'll be more like chill and relaxed, and not so much like like my kid. But yeah, I think that first month they're just chilling, not really doing nothing. Just gotta make sure that they eat on time, eating all the time, every 2 hours, even through the night. And so that's really, you're just taking care of their like most basic needs of like changing the diaper, feeding them, and like giving them human contact.
Yeah. Yeah. And, I think I wanted to, talk about like the whole 6 months. I'm not sure if you even remember that. That was probably what, April? 'Cause he was born in October.
Yeah.
About April. By that time, how is he behaving now?
Oh, so at that, well, the interesting thing is that I had, by April, we were in quarantine already.
Right.
When he was 3 months old, I had gone back to work. I was at work for maybe a month, and then we all went back to quarantine. So since then, I've been at home. So in this April time, he is more like lively. He's like not just like a little potato that you only have to feed. Like you have to find some way to entertain him. My kid loves being outside since he was really small, has loved being outside. And so making sure that, like, at that point he can't walk and do nothing, so we had to like make sure he went outside at least once a day, or else he would be so grumpy. He also was like blabbing a lot more by this time. And also everything feels all meshed together. Like, it's so hard to like differentiate from like the 3 to the 6 to the 9 months. But at this point I do remember him being um having more of a personality than before. Like, you can tell, like, he's this kind of kid, or he's that kind of kid already at like that young.
Yeah. Okay. And now fast forwarding pretty much till now, because I hear him in the background
Mm-hmm.
enjoying himself. Now what's his behavior? What is he doing now?
Oh, yeah, he's doing everything. He walks now. He's like fully mobile. He also is like just exploring everything, and he's a bit of a daredevil. He will jump off the couch. If someone needs to catch him, that's our problem. He will just walk out of the house, kick open doors. Like, he's just doing everything that he possibly can or wants to do. He's learning now to like be a little bit more independent. Like, he tries to feed himself, that kind of stuff. So I think now he's really like his own person, and we're kind of just here to make sure he doesn't like throw himself off some stairs.
Right.
But he's like doing his thing. He's like really figuring out the world, and he's having fun. Like, right now, since we aren't seeing any other family really, he's just like bonding with the people in this house and connecting with the folks in this house, which I think will be interesting later. He doesn't get to see a lot of other kids and stuff. So now he's doing some independent exploring.
Yes, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And so, to follow that to pretty much now, right? And I know your husband's around, so you're probably gonna give the cliche answer, but just being honest, how is being a mother? I mean, going through that first year, how is that?
It is incredibly difficult, in that I think there's a lot of like facets to it. I'm like a working mother. I'm a married mother, so I think it's hard to balance all the things, and also like I'm a person, right? Like, I am my own person, so it's really hard to balance like the needs of my relationship with my husband, the needs of like what my son needs, like what my work needs from me. So like, what does my family need from me as well? So I think those are all things that I have to balance, and that those are all things that I have to like um, make sure that I'm intentionally thinking about each of them, because there has been times where one of those things has maybe not been at the forefront of like what I'm thinking or doing. Like, I think my relationship with my son will always be number one, but I think other relationships could like dwindle, or you're not putting as much attention, even like my relationship with myself. And so I think that is difficult, and like being a mother is all about balance, and like figuring out that balance and being okay with mistakes.
Absolutely, absolutely. I really appreciate all that information. I think it's gonna help, at least one person, right? And I just hope that this information can reach somebody and make them just a little bit more comfortable, because I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure you weren't the only one scared. I'm sure you weren't the only
Right.
one nervous, and I know for sure you weren't the only one in pain. So,
Right.
with that advice, I'm hoping that this is crucial. This is for the upcoming mothers.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's such a significant aspect, especially in our generation, being in our 20s, um, of not having a baby out of wedlock, right? You are married, and not a lot of women are in that same position. So just describing your whole balance of how you have to, you have to keep your own identity. Of course, you have to take care of the baby. You got to continue to take care of your husband. Being able to balance that is something that needs to be discussed, talked about, communicated with,
Mm-hmm.
and, understood.
Yeah.
Is there any final words or any piece of advice that you have for women that are thinking about being pregnant, or are pregnant now, or going through that first year?
Yeah, I think one thing is it's important to keep in mind that it really does take a village to raise a child. I think that it's not necessarily the American way to like call on others to help when raising a kid. You know, I think there's like this American mentality of like, you had a kid, that's your responsibility. Whereas in like other cultures, I know in like the Mexican culture, I have friends who are Indian. I have friends who you know, are Korean, Chinese, who in their families, it's like we all rally together when we are raising a new child. And I think that is something that's an advice that I'd want to give if you are thinking of having a kid or about to have a kid. You know, put together your village. Doesn't necessarily have to be like your blood family, but you know, like have people who are going to be there to help you, because it is difficult, but in the end, like they say, the children of the future, and we're all going to have to deal with who they become later eventually. So I think it's super critical to have help wherever you can get it.
Most definitely, most definitely. And so, you know, with that, Jocelyn, I appreciate the information. I know that this is going to get out. I know quite a bit of mothers are going to find this very valuable. And again, I just want to thank you for, you know, taking the time.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me.
Of course, of course. All right. And so with that, to all you future mothers and to all you men that should be taking care of your children, all right, take this advice seriously. And, you know, we'll see you next time. Peace.